Hey everybody, welcome back to Wesley the Writer. It's been a minute since I last recorded, but you probably won't really notice it, so don't really worry about it. Okay, so I've been talking a lot about how I've been into getting my work done and what I used to do in the past with, working with different people and different groups. But today I want to talk about teams, specifically how to work with a team, not to how you say it, basically become dead weight. So we're going to talk about working with others and how it's okay, but to really get the most out of it, you should be putting in your own work. You should be pulling your own weight. There should be something that you're doing with your group that is going to get all of you to the level that you want to get to. We're going to talk about figuring out what drives you to achieve your goals and how you can work on what you can control first. Then we're going to get into how we're going to drop the dead weight when it comes and presents itself in anything that we're doing. All right, let's get into it. Let's talk about friends in the workplace. Having people that make you laugh and boost your morale is good, but you need to evaluate if they should be working with you or not. You need to figure out in your head, like, okay, am I really going to gain something from working with this person if we're working on this project together? And if I am, or even if you can offer something to them, like, what's the main goal, and do they share the right mind that you do? It goes along the lines of, if we're going to work together, are you going to help me, or are you going to hinder me from achieving my goals? And that goal setting, that mindset for achievement is something that we as creators need to hold on to, because we're ultimately trying to get somewhere and we're not trying to carry anyone. When you're working in a group, I learned that it's best if you're able to do your work independently of the others. It's better to be able to have something done, and it's better to have your own self-worth than, say, hey, everybody, please carry this load for me. It is quite heavy. But yet, when it comes time for them to ask you the same question, it's like, oh, snap. Well, you see, what had happened was, your value is what keeps you valuable to your team. And when we all think that way, and we all have the mindset to, oh yeah, we're working together. Yeah, I can do this one thing, but this other guy can cover my bases. That's when you have a very valuable team that you can get a lot of stuff done with. This whole conversation reminds me about when some I forget what it was. It was like some speaker or something. They were saying that your team doesn't need to know that they're in a team. Once you build something like or once you're trying to build something, let's say like you're getting into marketing, right? Well, you're gonna need like a guy to do websites. You're gonna need a guy to run your marketing campaigns, or however you're gonna do it, your affiliate links, and you're gonna need somebody to run your ad traffic, whatever. All of those people don't need to be in a single room. They can be completely opposite or completely away from whatever it is that you're trying to complete, as a visionary. But working in a team doesn't necessarily mean that everyone has to get along with each other and, have some grandiose, what is it? Some camaraderie, it's not like that. What you're looking for in a team isn't if you can all go out for drinks later. It's, can we get this job done, and how effective can we be at getting this job done? If someone if someone falls behind, it's okay. Especially like if somebody falls out of that, out of that mindset of what you're looking for. As long as they're getting the job done and they're being consistent with it, those types of things aren't really an issue. But, if they're not contributing, if they're not doing any work, if you've been waiting for a response from this one person from like what, let's say a couple of weeks, and they haven't even gotten back to you yet about whatever it is that you're trying to do, well, yeah, then it's time to kick them out of the chat. You did what you could do, you said what you could say, but ultimately you're on a time schedule. You got to get this stuff done. You got to think about what you're chasing after. What are your goals? What are you really? What is it that's really going to bring the team together? Once you really get that in your head, it's going to allow you to fuel what it is that you're trying to do. And when you're in the space, right? Keep in mind that you're the master of your time and energy. It doesn't matter what's happening in the world around you. What really matters is what are you doing to ensure that what you want to get done gets done, especially when working with a team. When people are, not meeting your deadlines and they're not staying in contact with you, and they're not doing this, not doing that, that's when it's time to say, there's something that I want to do. That's when you really shine. When you have in your head, like, okay, it doesn't matter who is slacking off, it's time for me to get this thing done. Drop them, find somebody else, complete the cycle, and we're not talking about like friends and family. What we're talking about is consistency. What we're talking about is making sure that the thing gets done, and especially coming through from a creator's mindset, the more you get done, the more chances there are for people to recognize who you are and what you can do, what you can get done in that team. It doesn't matter about the ones who do not complete. It only matters about the ones who stick with you to get the thing done. All the other crybabies, all the other, woe is meers, the only thing you really need to do is focus on what it is that you do. Let all of that other stuff go and continue to grow in that right. Stepping back a bit, and we're talking about building a library of work. You want to be as consistent as the most experienced and most accomplished person in your space. For me, as a writer, I've noticed that a lot of the writers who make this a career put in so much work on a consistent basis that my little screenplay that I wrote in 3 years just pales in comparison to, pushing out 12 in a month. When you're really in it, you're in it, So being that consistent and giving all of your energy into what you want to do, learning about everything that there is to learn about in it, and just continuing to grow in that sense makes you so much more valuable. So when it comes time to have collabs and build other things, people have something to look at and base your work ethic off of, not just, oh, I said that I can do this, or look at me, I'm interested in this, but you don't have anything to show for it. Build that library and stay consistent. That's like my whole message to the world. Don't just do something like that because you think you want to do it. Do something like that because you're driven to do it. If you can't sleep at night because you have a bunch of ideas in your head about X or Y, then it's time to start putting that out. Not just sitting on it, but even when you start to feel like oh man, like there's nothing that I can really do. I don't have like $20,000, or I don't have friends with large bank accounts that can bankroll me to get this one thing done. You don't really need all that. Start with what you can do. One of the most famous examples of this is my experience with trying to do short films. Okay, all right. So I tried it. Well, for one, I did write a short film and it did get shot. But I tried to shoot one also and I completely failed at it multiple times. And I kept asking myself, like, what's the problem? What am I doing wrong? Is it me? Did I do that? Get my Urkel on or something. No, it wasn't per se me, or I'm sorry, it wasn't so per se the people around me that was the problem. It was me. I was I was aiming too high. I was aiming too high to try to achieve something that I didn't know how to get to. I omitted the thing that makes me who I am instead to try to chase and be something that I'm not, when all I had to do was just invest a little bit of my money into paying someone to do the stuff that I did not know how to do. There we go. I went from getting Udemy courses and all of these like self-help books and all this other stuff, trying to learn how to do short films, how to shoot film, how to do all this other stuff. And I never got anything done. I was like, well, what the heck? What does that mean for me? Like, who am I? Like, I'm not here talking about I'm a writer. I'm gonna try to do all this or whatever. No. All right. If you want to get into a field like filmmaking, you have to understand that to be a filmmaker does not mean one specific thing. It does not mean that you have to go out here with your camera and shoot the world. Although, if that's what you want to do, great. It does not mean that you have to direct and lead a team of people in order to create something based off of a piece of paper. If that's what you're passionate about, then go for it. For me, I found my passion in writing. I write. I love coming up with concepts and ideas for stories, and I like to pin that out. And that's just where I'm at. I'm not trying to step on director's toes or trying to jump on the camera and start trying to get the shots that I want in my head. Like, no, it's a passion, yes, but it's not something that is meant, especially from the business side, it's not something meant for you to just jump out and do. You have to dedicate yourself to this stuff. It's not about, oh, this it's so easy. The only thing I need is $2,000. No, it's not like that. I mean, sure, you could come up with a script and get lucky or something. You could Quentin Tarantino it and end up becoming successful. But if you look at Quentin Tarantino, that man is passionate about what he does. If you look at any director for that matter, that passion is what makes people drawn to you. It's what makes your work not just some cookie cutter thing. If you look at your work, right? You look at your work and you're like, man, this sucks. But I mean, I can still shoot it though. I mean, that's not passion. That's just you being desperate. Understand that stuff, because once you understand who you are and what your thing is, then you can put your energy into learning all about it. Like for me, like I had to, even though like I was passionate about writing since I was like 14, I had to learn what story structure was. Like I could write, like just write books. I mean, like I really have like a bunch of stuff I've written, but without the ability to really make a solid, meaningful piece, it's just that it's just a bunch of words on paper. You can make of it what you want, but to just write isn't really what the assignment is. If you really want to understand what the assignment is, look at some of the greatest stories told so far. Some of those great movies like the Avengers stuff, or the horror stuff of like Hereditary, or whatever, get into James Cameron's world with what's that, the Avatar, you know, things like that. Those big budget movies and stuff aren't just thrown together because, well, sometimes they're not just thrown together, but for the most part, those pieces of work, the ones that really nail it, aren't just thrown together with some guy sitting around talking about, oh, I want to do something, let's just do this. No, they're passionate about it. They spent hours upon years upon decades working on developing their skill, and it pays off. It pays off, and you can actually understand where they're coming from through their work, who they are as a person, because that's who they put into the work. They put themselves in there. When you can put yourself into something, then everybody else that gets drawn to you will see that as an example and know that you mean business. Not that you want to just make money, but you want to actually make art. You want to create the best project possible, or the best product possible. You want to be at the pinnacle, not just some schmuck trying to get a couple of extra dollars because gas prices went too high. Focus on that part. Really be about yourself, and you'll see that in the end, it's all going to work out for you the way that you would like it to. The only thing you have to do is put yourself in there, put yourself in that headspace, put yourself in that passionate realm where people can see, like, oh man, you're really about this thing. You're really, you're really engaged, and you're not just like showing up, late to the party with something you picked up from the corner store and expecting people to appreciate what you got. Like, no, man, that's not how this works. When we say that we want to make or do something, are we really sure that that is what we really want to do? Instead of being that director, do you want to be a gaffer? Instead of being the actor or the lead actress, are you okay with running PA or running script supervision? Again, my examples come from filming, but it could be anything. Are you okay with being a security guard over being a police officer? Are you okay with the fire department instead? I mean, you can ask yourself questions like that all the time. Like, what is it that you really want to do? Think about yourself. One of the key things that you notice about me, about anything I write, I write about what happens when you either take care of yourself or you don't. I think if you wanted to understand my writing, just start with that baseline. And you'll see that the characters that I create have to ask that question themselves. Like, okay, am I going to do everything for everyone? Or am I going to consolidate and focus on what it is that I can control? And if you carry that mindset in your life, you're going to go so far. Not just ignoring your responsibilities or anything, but taking care of yourself, taking care of your mind. Just because they show you pictures of buff dudes on the beach or something, from a guy's perspective, doesn't mean you have to go out and just start pumping weight so you can attract a mate. Like, that's so base. Like, nobody's really that into that. I mean, it might help, but what use is it to have such a attractive physique and your brain's basically non-existent? Or you spend all of your time only focusing on one thing, but yet you're lacking in every other area of your life. And all of this just goes back around to being a really good team member, because then when you go to work with people, if you've done these things, if you focus on yourself, then you don't have to worry about if you're going to miss a deadline or if people aren't going to like what you do. You're about it. It's you. The people who brought you on the team brought you on because they saw what you already did. And they were like, hey, this guy does this so consistently. We don't want anybody else. This guy's really about what he says he's about. He gets it done. Or she gets it done, whoever, we're not being sexist. But still, that's the mindset. Do what you can do, take care of yourself, and enjoy, make decisions. I keep telling people all the time, I keep telling guys who I talk to a lot that women do not like an indecisive man. It's one thing to say you're going to do something, but then when you do it, it just makes you look so much more attractive in that sense. Not just sexually, but mentally as well. Like people, it's like almost it puts you on the higher spectrum of the law of attraction. People want to be around someone who can make decisions and get stuff done, not someone who cowers at the first sign of trouble or stress. It's like I can't do anything with someone like that. You're just gonna sit in a corner and cry? We got a whole project to get done. Come on, man. Be better. Make sure that whoever you bring into your group, that you examine them. Look at what everybody's doing. Everybody. Not just one person, but make sure that whoever's in your immediate group working on whatever project you have set up is meeting or exceeding your work ethic. When you're putting in the long hours, who's there at the desk next to you? Is there anybody helping you complete this and with the same effort, or is that one guy just like, it's whatever, it'll get done if it gets done, if not, it's cool? Or you get the one that like shows up super passionate day one, but then day two they like, oh man, I got this thing. Like, where's the vision at? Where's the group vision? What are you really trying to accomplish with that mindset? Were you just trying to flex around a bunch of people you thought were cool, and then you find out that they're actually, oh snap, they actually do work? Oh, I gotta get out of this real quick. That all just goes back to what is it that you're after? If somebody tells me they want to shoot a film, the first thing I'm trying to figure out is, okay, what do you do? And if they're like, well, we can just shoot this thing, I got a place, I found this location, I could probably hit up my girlfriend or something, she might act for me or whatever. I'm like, okay, how much thought did you put into a budget? Oh man, that just throws everything. If you want to start cutting people from your group like real quick, just start bringing up the budget. Just drop it like in the middle of some conversation that somebody's having. It's like, yeah man, yeah, I did this last month. All right, oh, so guys, what about that budget? It just goes quiet, and then everybody just starts looking around like, oh snap. Well, I can get my dad to. Okay, sorry, I'm going off here. Anyway, we're not talking about funds like that, but we are talking about the mindset of the person, and if they're really going to go the extra mile for you, or if they're just going to flake, once something gets mentioned or someone does something that they don't like. People will look for ways to get out of things, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you're the problem. It just means that they know they're the problem and they can't really deal. Whenever somebody tries to show up and like take control 1 minute, but then they miss out on all the meetings and they run and hide in their little corners. Oh, it's not my deal. It's their deal. No, that's the stuff I'm talking about. You want to make sure that you identify that someone to pretending to be on it. And just see like if the only thing they've gotten done was talking, it's time to get rid of them. It's okay to be specific about what your goals are and your expectations, but don't short yourself when it comes to what you want to achieve. Don't lower your standards because someone doesn't want to get to where you want to get to. You just have to make better decisions on, okay, I know where I want to be. Where do you want to be? What do you want to do? And if they say in the beginning, yeah, man, I want to be on top like you, bro. Like, you got this. And then the next thing you know, they're nowhere to be found when it's time to actually do the work. Well, you got to get rid of them. And like I said, in most cases, they get rid of themselves. Don't let that drag on. Because if you let it drag on, you shrug your shoulders. Okay. I mean, I'm putting in the work. I mean, they're helping me out emotionally, I guess. There's no one else passionate about it. Then what you're going to notice is that as you continue to go on, they're literally not going to do anything, like, at all. Like, they'll just sit there and expect for you to do it. And then when you do catch that break, and it's like, it's money time, they're like, yo, where's my cut? And you don't want to pay them anything because they didn't do anything. And there's a whole big fight. Everybody just gets upset. Everybody getting mad at each other for no reason, when it all could have been squashed with you making a simple decision. No, man, hey, look, yeah, I'm just going to go ahead, do my thing. It was cool. We had this decent conversation. We can talk whenever you feel like it. That's cool. I just need to put this work in, though. And just let it be done. That's it. That's it. There's nothing else to be said. Anything other than, oh, all right, man, or, well, they'll try, bro. I'm telling you, they'll try, bro. I can hit up my cousin real quick, or whatever. I'm just bringing up like random examples, but I'm telling you, man, like, if you really want to gauge if you're working with people who are really about what you are about, test them in the ways that you can with what is expected in that field. Look at the most successful people. Look at the most successful areas that your group says that they're good at, and just compare. It's your vision if that's what you're undertaking. If you're working with somebody in somebody else's group, reevaluate if your vision lines up with their vision on like what you want to achieve. If everybody's geared towards one thing, but you're like geared towards something else, that's not helping anybody. You all want to be cohesive with it. Working in a group, especially in like writing, I don't want to get into a writing room and then like, and then you got like some, like everybody's thinking this one story beat. And I'm sitting up here like, oh man, I don't know. I kind of want to, I saw this whole story going somewhere completely different. Even voicing that is pretty decent, but like, if I'm still trying to push my view on something that they've already moved on to because I want to be on top or I want to lead or whatever, that's not cool, and I would feel more comfortable with them kicking me out than dragging me along, suffering the whole ride. That's what I'm saying. It's like, just be responsible for yourself and understand yourself. And when you're able to, then you can start making those decisions about if you belong in this group or if you need to remove yourself or need to remove someone else, And it's not always negative, to be removed from something, to fire someone, That's not it's bad. It seems like it's bad because, it kind of is, but it isn't. If you really think about it, getting rid of someone now is better than not getting rid of them and having this whole crap fest later on. It's not going to work out. It never has, and it never will. But this all comes down to the whole quote, your network is your net worth. Thinking about it, people who put themselves around a bunch of people who are actually achievers definitely have more of a chance of achieving something than someone who surrounds themselves with a bunch of non-achievers, or a bunch of complainers, and then try to achieve something. Chances are you're not going to achieve what you want. And carrying that thought process forward, we have to really think about it. It's like when we think about our success, and a lot of times it's monetary, that's fine. When we think about how much money we want to make, we have to think about even just with the mindset of the people, do they want that same money? Do they really want to do that? I asked my friends, a few of my friends from the church, this question. It was, what's the craziest thing you would do with, if you could just do it? No money. Don't think about the price tag. What's the craziest thing that you would do? Where would you go? What is it that you want? The biggest, the most outrageous thing you can think of. Most of the people who I asked that question to can't give me an answer. And you would think, yo, I want this, I want that, I want this expensive sports car, this mansion, whatever. That's fine, but is it really what you want? Or are you just repeating what you saw on social media? Ask yourself, really, like, take that question and really think about it for a day or so. Just, if I had everything in the world or every means in the world to get what I want, what would I want? Really? What would really set me for the rest of my life? Okay, I got this. I don't need anything else. I don't want to do anything else. When you find an answer to that question, that is your motivation to get it. It's like you can prioritize getting that thing once you know what it is. And when you know what that is, you can put forth the right amount of effort to get it. You don't have to keep chasing a ghost or a fragment of someone else's passion. You know what you want, and when you finally get there, you can stop. You can keep going if you discover something else, but once you reach that pinnacle, that's it. Once you get that mansion and that car, there's nothing else. And that's the reason why most people become depressed and stuff, I feel, when they get all this money and they can buy the entire world and they lose their soul. They don't know what they want. You can say you want money, but that's only one part of it. And when you don't have a full vision for your life or where you're trying to go, it makes you weaker to a group of people who know what they want, who know what their stop date is, who know what their magnum opus would be. When I can accurately articulate that I wanted to start a podcast and do books and write scripts from time to time, that was my thing. Like, I was like, okay, this is what I want to do. And I got to a point, I fought so hard for it, where I'm doing it. And I might not be the best person at it. That's just more incentive for me to get better and better at it. I know what I want, and I know how I'm going to get it. And because I know what I want and how I'm going to get it, I'm able to live my life and build my life up around getting that thing. I don't have to second guess myself every time something happens in my life. I already know where I'm headed. Every time something bad happens, or every time someone comes against me, or every time something, people do this, or a lightning strike blows up a transistor there, I already know that, okay, that stuff happened, but I'm still moving on to where I'm going. In the discussion. Go into the doctor's office, finding out I got cancer or something. I don't have cancer, but if that was the case, that's not going to stop me until my body stops me, And that mindset is what makes us very good team members. When we can stop trying to blame or stop trying to come up with excuses, and we stop trying to chase these empty phantom dreams, and we can actually focus on what it is we really want because we discovered what it is we really want, then the people who we come in contact with won't have a problem going the extra mile for us. And when we see that in them, we don't have the problem of working with them to get the projects done that we need to get done. We need to start thinking about how it is that we can help each other out and working in these teams to get the right outcome that we're all excited for, that would really launch us in everything that all of us want to do. Not just the one person, not just the one vision. We all want to see this done because we all know where we're all headed. And that only starts with us as individuals. And when we can understand our own place of our own mindset, who we are, where we're headed, what we want, that's when we can really come together and make things happen. Make dreams real. That is what we're after here. In conclusion, work on what you can control, and when people are attracted to you, evaluate what they are bringing to the table before you hand them the keys to your $1,000,000 empire, to your $1,000,000 ideas, to your $1,000,000 dream. Don't give all of you away to people who don't want what you want. When you know who you are and you know what you want, then that becomes a non-issue, because nothing's going to stop you from achieving that goal. It doesn't matter who tries to knock you off the path. You already have a set path. So you just get up, dust yourself off, get back on the trail, and keep on walking. And yeah, that sounds like, oh, pick yourself up by the bootstraps. But it's true. It's true. You have to pick yourself up. Because I can't. I don't know you like that. I don't know what your goals and stuff really are. You can tell me, but is that really what you believe? Do you really believe that? Is that who you are? Work hard in what you want to achieve and stop looking for handouts. No one is going to give you your success. And I know that's just a dead horse being steamrolled over, but people, especially these days from what I've noticed, don't understand that. There's no such thing as a freebie. Even with the stimulus payments, people were like, oh, the government's giving me free money. Well, look what that got us. We don't have money now. People are desperate. We keep the trend going, people are going to be starving to death. And that's not something light. No matter how many cat videos there are on YouTube, that's not going to numb the pain of watching your child die in your arms because you can't feed them. And people believe that you can't, that won't happen. Like that this is America. Oh, okay, you can think that. But I digress from that point. That was a little heavy. What I mean is, don't expect people to give you what you should be working and getting for yourself. You want to do what you feel you've been called to do, so do it and let your work speak for itself. Let what you put your hands to show who you are. When you can do that, with me in writing, like I keep telling people, hi, I'm Wesley the writer. But do I have anything to show for it? Well, I do. But the question is, do you? What do you call yourself? And okay, you call yourself that, but what do you have to show me to prove that that's what you are? Again, don't look for handouts. Just get it done. If the people that gravitate to your positive life are trying to burden you with their laziness, then write them a Dear John letter and nope out of there. You have a business to build. You don't want people trying to tell you who you are, what you want, because they want it. You want people to agree that, yeah, you have your view and I have mine, and they work together. So let's work together to get to what we want. When we both see, or when we all see what, that level of success, and that's where we all want to be at, that project, that screenplay, that whatever, that's our magnum opus right there. We want to get there. Everybody's in agreement. We can have little disputes about this or that. We can tweak things here and there along the way. But ultimately, we're all geared towards accomplishing this thing together because that's going to help all of us. When you have that mindset, yeah, man, you're going places. But when you bring people on who don't know where their life is going, like at all, like they're just aimless, even. Sure, they might have some little talent here and there, but they're not trying to really get where you're at. It's time to let them go. It's time to say, it's time to write that letter, man. I'm telling you, get done with that and get right so you can go home. All right, y'all. So thanks again for listening to the podcast. I'm working on releasing short stories, so that's coming out. I just have to get them edited and we'll be good to go. Shout out to Leanna and Carl Gibbons on their wedding. It was on the 27th of May of 2022, and it was really good. I'm really happy for them. Leanna's my sister, and Carl is now my brother-in-law. So cool. Okay. Anyway, continue to focus on yourself and remember that at the end of the day, you're responsible for achieving what it is you set out to achieve. There's no one holding you back but yourself. And it doesn't matter how many times it's said, it's true. So don't worry about who's around you, worry about who's in you. And when you're able to articulate what it is you really want, go for it. And the rest will handle itself. Continue to stay positive, y'all. I mean, it is a rough time out there. Not a lot of us are believers like I am, but it's okay. We're here for you when you decide to know more. That sounds a little silly. But no, seriously, be positive, stay encouraged. Don't let the wiles of the world deter you from achieving what you set out to achieve. Just focus. Focus on what's important. And you'll get there. I believe in you. This is Wesley the Writer, signing off again. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.